Oh man, everybody, I gotta be honest about something that I did for a really long time. And that is that I vilified a native plant, an ecologically important native plant, to try to help another native plant. Yes, that's what I did. And I did it without knowing. I did it because I learned this from other folks. I read about it in different places, and I still see it happening now. So I want to tell you the story, and then I want to tell you how I changed the way that I see this. So everyone heard for a very long time, there's a lot of birds around me, that goldenrod is the source of fall allergies. As a person that suffers from fall allergies, I thought, okay, well, that's true. I don't know, but that's what I thought. But I loved goldenrod. It's so pretty. And so I just sneeze a lot. I have runny nose, I have itchy eyes. And I know I'm more tolerant than other folks because I also live with cats, and I'm slightly allergic to cats. So I learned, oh, it's actually giant ragweed that I'm allergic to. It's the ragweeds, common ragweed, giant ragweed. And I saw a picture of the pollen of giant ragweed under a microscope. And holy cow, you could see how that pollen would be super irritating in your nose and your throat. It was just a spiky ball, kind of like a sweet gum seed head. So I thought, whoa, that's nuts. So when I started doing environmental education for folks publicly, which I did for a really long time, I would say, hey, it's not the common it's not the goldenrod, it's the ragweeds. And I'd say that over and over and over and over and over. And how many people did I impact that maybe went and killed all of the ragweeds? Yikes, probably a lot. And then one year, a giant ragweed started growing here. And it was just one, and we didn't work on killing ragweeds anyways. They're annuals, so we were just watching it. And then the seeds ripened. They're a pretty big seed, and all of a sudden flocks of cardinals were descending on the ragweed. At first it was a couple cardinals, now it's flocks of cardinals, plus migrating rose-breasted grosbeaks if they are coming through when they're ripe. And they devoured those seeds very quickly, and I was astonished. Here we were buying bags of black oil sunflower seeds, and there's this native plant that was growing oil-rich seeds all on its own. And I had been telling people for a very long time that ragweed was the source of your hay fever. Now, I wasn't saying ragweed is awful, but I didn't also say ragweed offers blah, 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 blah. I didn't do any of that because I didn't know. This is one of those things where you gotta use your own eyes. You can read things, you can learn things, and then observe, and then learn new things. We don't have to be stuck in that place of learning where we were at one time. So we witnessed that. And then just recently, I was reading in Sam Thayer's, maybe his Field Guide to the Native Plants book, on how indigenous people actually cultivated giant ragweed because the seeds are so delicious. Now, he has not figured out how to harvest the seeds and then shell them really quick-like. And so he says that is perhaps knowledge that was lost to time and to people that were persecuted. So, shocker, I mean, people love to eat it. So I'm going to have to peel some open this season and try them and see what they're like. Okay, so that's giant ragweed. And we have a lot more of it than we used to. It is an annual, and it likes disturbed soil. It does a great job with that. Now that there's an ecological function with that plant, I find it to be much more beautiful as well, which is so interesting, isn't it? Because the flower is a big old spike. It reminds me of Culver's root or black cohosh. Whoa! Okay, so then take a look behind me. What you're seeing behind me is common ragweed. And common ragweed came into this area full force where we had our septic system installed. So this is the actual leach field area. The soil got very disturbed. We sowed a cover crop on top of it, which did very fantastic as well, but there was still a lot of bare soil that was really impacted from equipment. And that's what common ragweed can do. It can handle really tough conditions. It'll be one of those in field guides where it's going to say waste places. Whatever a waste place is. I see anywhere that is growing anything not as a waste place. What about you? I don't know. Anyways, we started paying attention to the common ragweed, just wondering, hey, is it similar at all to giant ragweed? And it is a huge source of hay fever, yes, so I am pointing that out. It bothers a lot of people. And so I also started reading about it. If you've not checked out Illinois Wildflowers, it's a website. It's excellent. It will describe the plants in great detail, and then there will also be a faunal section, so it'll talk about all of the critters that use a plant, and then there will even be comments. They're super useful. I really love reading them. And so when I started reading about common ragweed, it says it's got considerable ecological functioning, so even more than giant. And that is because the seeds are very small, so many birds can eat on the seeds. Oh my gosh. So sparrows, juncos, any of the birds that like these smaller seeds are going to be eating in there. So buntings have been in here, indigo buntings. And then I also read for both of the ragweeds, they are host plants for many, many insects, different types of moths, tree hoppers, beetles, a lot of insects. And you know, if you are working and participating in the rewilding movement, we are planting plants and having plants grow that support a lot of insects, because the insects, not only are they just amazing on their own, super cool, autonomous beings, but they also feed a lot of birds that need insects. So common yellowthroats have been foraging in here, as the warblers have been migrating through, not just the common yellowthroats, but we have had Tennessees in here, American redstarts. Who else? There was a black-throated blue in here yesterday, a lot. And I thought, oh my gosh, here's this plant, this coarse-looking plant. And not only does it have incredible food for birds, it's an incredible source of food for insects, which also feeds the birds, which also feeds the insects, which feeds the entire food chain. It's just this remarkable, remarkable thing that happens when you have a functioning food chain. And this is a plant that is resilient. It's annual. It will fade out because other plants that are perennial will move in. The soil will become less disturbed. And so right now what we are doing is appreciating this plant, and we are watching it with fascination because the seeds aren't fully ripe yet. So once they are, what are we going to see? We've seen the warbler flocks moving through, going up and down the stem, all along the leaves, picking off insects, picking off moths, tree hoppers. We're seeing it happen. And so that is my confession, and it's also my hard-earned lesson to share with you all, that just because we read something or are told that we should really pay attention with our own eyes too. Using our own brains is a good thing. We don't have to question every single thing because that gets really tiring, but observing and seeing, hey, this is actually being used, or why is this being said? And that's important to recognize what we're doing for the planet, because it does make a difference. So shall I turn this around and just take a quick look at the common ragweed? I think that'd be cool. Let's do that. Okay, so here's the plant that I was trying to save with my throwing under the bus the ragweeds. And this is mostly tall goldenrod in here. There's probably some thin-leaved. And then you can see right here, oh, look at this soil. It's very sad soil at the moment. This was actually a subsoil that got smeared over this area. So it's going to take some time, but it will heal. All right, so here we go. In here we have goldenrod and we have the common ragweed all in here. Look at this plant. Very interesting. So it's much the same structure as giant, and that there's these little areas where the pollen is, and then the seeds are at the base, and they are quite a bit smaller, just the case itself of giant, which then fits with what I read. And you can see this is quite a patch of common ragweed in here, and it's got a lot of the other disturbed site non-native grasses. They have all been feasted on. It's really interesting to witness, y'all. So I'll keep you posted on this area over time, and I will perhaps do another video on the common ragweed if we really notice some different things than I'm talking about, or extraordinary things. Look at this. This is a huge food plot, isn't it? It's a huge food plot, like folks would plant for mourning doves. It's thrilling. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you think.